I want to thank the Cathaoirleach, obviously, and the CEO, Anna Marie. I'm only standing here today because I got nabbed by Anna Marie at another event I came down to for Oonagh and basically dragooned. And I think my arm has recovered from the twisting, but only just about. Nonetheless, I'm very delighted to be here today to launch the Tullamore Decarbonising Zone, which is a really inspiring initiative and embodies the spirit of local action in our national climate ambition, and for a town that I'm very fond of personally. I've been on boats watching the photograph coming through. And can I add to the Cathaoirleach in saying it's a great presentation and really well done today. So the Decarbonising Zone project, which Tullamore is going to be heavily featuring in, is not merely about reducing emissions. It's about fostering vibrant, sustainable communities, driving green innovation, and demonstrating how collective efforts at the local level can contribute significantly to Ireland's ambitious targets of a 51% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions and ultimately net zero by 2050. The Tullamore DZ serves as a vital testbed, allowing us to pilot and refine cutting-edge solutions in areas like sustainable transport, energy efficiency and community engagement, as you've just heard from Anna Marie. And this ultimately paves the way for broader implementation across the country, and a greener, more resilient future for all of us. And it's really important that it's community-led and local authority-led. You are closest to what you know and what you need to do. We can't drive this from a government department in Dublin. It has to be locally led and it has to be community led. And we're very grounded in that thinking now that this is really part of the drive that we have to do. At the same time, everything we do, we know we need to scale across the county first and then across the nation. So it's from these seeds that we will scale and drive huge change across our communities. And we know it will require huge change. That's why these attempts are so important. I want to just mention a few things that my department is doing to support the energy transition and climate action. Not possible, of course, to talk about all the things we're doing, but I want to just reflect on a few things that are particularly important for Tullamore proper. So that's the Just Transition Programme for the Midlands, building resilience through adaptation, cleaner air for healthy communities, powering change through energy efficiency, and of course, Oonag's efforts here locally. Again, I'll just say, to do this is going to involve all of us changing what we do in a very radical way, and we acknowledge that. And part of what we need to do this is to kind of build momentum from the community across the system to try and make sure that we can all do this and be comfortable with the change that is coming. It has to be fair, it has to support impacted communities, and it has to create new opportunities for jobs and livelihoods in places like the Midlands. And the government and my department are firmly committed to delivering a fair and inclusive transition for communities most impacted by climate action. And the EU Just Transition Fund is a cornerstone of this effort. It's providing €169 million to support sustainable economic development in the Midlands only. And with 91 million awarded to date, Offaly has emerged as a key beneficiary, receiving over 40 million in funding. This includes 13 million for placemaking and tourism projects, 10.5 million to support local economic strategies, and 5 million for the Mount Lupus Circular Bioeconomy Aquaculture Demonstration Initiative. Probably one of the longest titles of any project ever, but anyway, there you go. Additionally, the Tochur Wetland Restoration Project is delivering a €12 million in peatland rehabilitation project, including in Offaly. Complementing this, the National Just Transition Fund has invested over 16 million in community-driven projects since 2020, and Offaly has benefited from more than 4.1 million in funding across 10 flagship initiatives, with 37 projects in total having a direct or indirect impact on the county. And these projects span renewable energy, retrofitting, conservation, tourism, food innovation, and local enterprise. And I'm sure there's people here in this room today who've benefited from that funding. So these investments demonstrate what just transition looks like in practice. It's creating jobs, it's regenerating communities, and it's supporting our shared climate ambition. And as we launch the Tullamore Decarbonisation Zone, the commitment to fairness and regional opportunity will remain at the heart of our approach. Now, we know a lot of us felt very deeply the effects of the storms over the last winter, both Storm Dara, which was an extraordinary storm, but swiftly swamped by the effects of Storm Éowyn. So we know that climate change is already affecting our communities, and we've all witnessed these extreme events. Our storms are becoming more frequent, but they're becoming more intense. And in response, the government has to invest, and we are investing in adaptation to build resilience and protect both people and ecosystems. Now, local authorities have, of course, also been leading the way by integrating adaptation measures into their climate action plans and risk assessments. And the decarbonising zones, like the one here in Tullamore, as Anna-Marie mentioned, offer an opportunity to deliver solutions that both cut emissions and manage climate risks, from nature-based flood defences to household-scale adaptations like the ones showcased in Kildare's demonstration house. The demo house demonstrates practical ways that households can adapt their properties and gardens to future climate impacts, such as automated blinds to manage overheating, rainwater gardens, and permeable paving to manage heavy rainfall, while also showing them how to retrofit their house to improve energy efficiency and reduce their emissions. And across the country, we are seeing innovation at play, from Carlow's rainwater gardens to EU-backed local risk assessments in Tipperary and Louth. And it's vital that we continue to support and share these efforts as we build a more climate-resilient Ireland. We are also cleaning up our air, cleaning up our act. And clean air isn't actually an environmental goal per se, it's actually for public health. And it starts in the communities. And as part of our ongoing commitment to cleaner air and climate action, we provided a grant to Offaly County Council of €80,000 in 2024 to support targeted air quality initiatives, particularly focused on reducing the use of solid fuels. And that obviously also helps in decarbonisation. And in 2025, we're building on this through a pilot project with several local authorities, including Offaly, aimed at helping areas most at risk of exceeding the new EU air quality targets. And under this project, Offaly has been allocated approximately 90,000 to enhance local air quality monitoring, raise awareness, and develop a clear roadmap for improvements. So these efforts are aligned with our clean air strategy. They recognise that while Ireland's overall air quality remains good, we are caught in the path of the Atlantic lows after all, so our air tends to blow over us quite fast. But there are small but significant local hotspots that need targeted support. And we're also going to be, we're currently advancing legislative changes to the Air Pollution Act to strengthen enforcement of solid fuel regulations, ensuring local authorities have the tools they need to deliver lasting improvements for communities across the country. And can I repeat again, the primary need for this is actually public health. 1,000 or more people die every year from the effects of solid fuel burning. So it's something we need to do to tackle that problem. We're also taking decisive steps to drive the energy transition by developing and implementing energy efficiency policies across, in particular, the built environment. And this includes both public and private buildings, from homes and schools to offices and community spaces. Our goal is very ambitious but very necessary to transform our national building stock into highly energy efficient, zero-emission buildings by 2050. And to help drive this transformation, the Department is developing Ireland's National Building Renovation Plan, which will guide the large-scale renovation of residential and non-residential buildings nationwide. Supporting this effort is a comprehensive package of government measures that make it easier and more affordable for people to upgrade their homes. And through the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, the SEAI, a wide range of grants and supports are available to households, businesses and community buildings to reduce energy use, cut emissions and lower bills. And a key part of this journey is moving away from fossil fuels like oil and gas and embracing clean heating alternatives. And the shift brings major benefits, not just for climate targets, but for our daily lives. It means warmer homes, healthier schools, more comfortable workplaces, and real savings on energy costs. And I know you're going to be hearing from Energy Cloud in a little while, talking about their work, particularly focused on energy poverty as well. But just to say, more than 3,000 houses across Offaly are now living in warmer homes because of upgrades funded by the SEAI since 2020. So that's a really impressive thing, but we need to do more of that, and we need to do more of that as quickly as we can. The other aspect, and Anna-Marie mentioned district heating. In our towns, district heating is also the way to go forward. And we're hoping to bring forward very shortly the new heat bill that will drive and implement and underpin district heating across the country in urban areas. But obviously in non-urban areas, other methods of improving insulation, driving down the cost of heating your home, and then transferring to non-fossil fuel based systems are the way to go. Obviously, we also need to do it in our public systems. And since 2019, Offaly County Council has been steadily advancing energy efficiency by retrofitting public lighting with LED units. And I think you've got about a 45% conversion rate so far, which is great. So that's a big momentum for that. And the Council's Climate Action Team is now partnering with the Midlands Energy Agency and SEAI to roll out an Energy Pathfinder programme. And this initiative will target some of our highest energy consuming buildings, helping us reduce emissions further, lower costs and demonstrate climate leadership at local level. So once again, can I ask you all to cross your fingers and make sure that the department gets lots of funding in through the NDP prospect so we can keep rolling out residential and non-residential retrofit measures, because that's our prime area for funding those developments. The Cathaoirleach also mentioned the relationship that the Midlands has had traditionally with fossil fuel. And one of the things I think that we don't acknowledge enough is just how big a transformation there's been in the last 5 years in how we power our electricity system in Ireland. So a couple of years ago, we stopped finally burning peat for the generation of energy. It wasn't a heralded thing, because I know that that raises certain emotions in the Midlands where it's such a traditional way of life. And that's why there's been so much investment in the just transition here. Remarkably, last month, we stopped burning coal to generate energy. So we now no longer have either peat or coal in our system. And even though we used coal only in Money Point and only to produce about 2% of our energy, it actually produced 12% of our greenhouse gas emissions related to electricity. So stopping burning coal and the conversion to oil, which is still a fossil fuel, but a much less carbon intensive one, is a very big moment in Ireland's energy transition. And we should acknowledge that this is happening. The other thing that's happening is that the company that was the home of peat burning for so long has transformed itself in the last few years, from a company that was essentially dying on its feet, and they would acknowledge that themselves, to one that is now Ireland's largest renewable energy generator. It's got nearly 1 gigawatt of assets spanning wind, solar, PV and biomass connected to the grid, and most of that is in the Midlands. Offaly, as you've just heard, ranks among the top counties for renewable energy production, reflecting the region's transformation from peat to clean energy. B&M's vision is very bold. For a publicly owned company, it's extraordinarily bold, actually. A self-sufficient Midlands, powered entirely by renewables within the next decade, with around 3 gigawatt under active development across the Midlands. And through their Energy Park programme, Bord-na-Móna aims to attract sustainable industry, low-carbon businesses to the region, supporting both climate goals and economic prosperity. And this is proof that regions that embrace energy transition can secure long-term industrial investment and prosperity. So in fact, Offaly and the Midlands now stands at the forefront of what is the way in which Ireland will be powered and will be economically successful for the future. So bravo. And having met Anna-Marie, I can see why that is happening. But anyway, and I know Anna-Marie and her team here who organised such a great event will be at the forefront of that for the future. So in conclusion, I wish you the very best of the launch of your decarbonising zone here in Tullamore. I'm looking forward to hearing what comes of this development and how we can use it to scale our efforts across the Midlands and then across the country. So Tullamore is showing what it means to lead, to act with purpose, to bring people together and to put climate ambition into motion. And finally, there's no big reveal. I haven't come with a large pot of money, but we have bid for money for these efforts into our NDP bid. We are looking at ERDF funding as well, to use our European sources for that. And I have Gráinne Huma and colleagues here today who will be very much at the centre of trying to drive the level of ambition that we need through local authorities. And we know that we're your funding partner for that. So we won't be found wanting, I hope, when it comes to pass. Again, all your fingers crossed on the negotiations.